All right. We're off to a good start for the day. This is my second time recording this podcast because the first time I recorded, first of all, my pants are in the back. Just pretend like that's not there. This is my second time recording this podcast because the first time I recorded, I used my laptop to record the audio instead of my phone. And the audio got cut into like 3 different clips, and not all of it was recorded on my mic. And I have the footage on my video, but I want the audio to be from my mic and not from my phone. So we're going to start this all over again. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I also have less than an hour because I had to leave in like an hour to pick my brother from school. So we're doing good on time. We're doing great. Anyway, let me try to re-record this episode and then see which one I like better. Okay? Okay. Cool. All right. Here we go. Hi. Welcome back to my podcast, randomchatswana. I'm your host, Ananda Cash, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about black people because it is Black History Month. It is our time to shine. And I said in my other episode that I recorded, I was saying I'm going to make a lot of jokes about Black History Month because there was a trend on TikTok last year where it was like black people basically were being treated as kings and queens with their white friends, like basically reparations, or basically like the white people were the black people servants for the month of February because it was our month. And I think it's funny, and now I'm going to implement my own thing of like when all my friends inconvenience me, I'm like, it's because I'm black, right? I'm like, this is a hate crime for the month of February. I'm going to do it with my friends, I'm going to do it at my job, and then, well, not really at my job, I'm going to just stay in my head at my job, like, it's because I'm black. Oh, this is a hate crime. Like, this is rude. This is Black History Month. And you treat me like this. And then, if it's my family, I'm like, this is black on black crime. Black on black crime. Crazy. Anyway, it's all jokes, though. I'm not being serious saying this legit a hate crime. It's just a joke. If you don't get the joke, then you shouldn't be listening to a podcast. My podcast this is my humor, okay? If you don't like it, then leave. Anyway, that was like random sass, but whatever. So today, I'm going to be talking about my personal experience about being a black woman, but also just being a black individual, and just basically always feeling like I wasn't black enough growing up in a way. I'm going to talk about it because I feel like I know I'm not the only one that experiences this, because I remember a few weeks ago I saw this YouTuber, her name is Maya Beatrice, and she made like in one of her videos she was talking about how like because she grew up in a predominantly white area in some of her schools, how like sometimes she felt like she wasn't black enough because first of all, being like a POC growing up in a predominantly white like school or neighborhood, there's always a common thing of them feeling like they're not attractive or like they're not pretty enough, or that like they're the problem when in reality it's just the white people not liking them because they're not white. So that's something I've never experienced because I've always been around my own group of people. And then I only went to a predominantly white school in college because I went upstate New York. But even then it was still pretty diverse. I still saw black people and like, you know, different like ethnicities, but it was like that was the first time I was around more white people than black people. So it was a change of scenery. And yeah, but I kind of want to talk about how like my experience of being a black person, because like I grew up being a not stereotypical black person. I grew up with both my parents in my life. My parents are still together. They've been together my entire childhood. My entire life they've been together, and that's already beating a stereotype because a lot of black people are raised by a single mother, sometimes single father, but most times single mother, because their dad's either dead, absent, or deadbeat. So fortunately my dad is neither of those. He's very much alive and in my life. So that was already a win for me. But then just like that simple aspect of having both my parents in my life and them being married for a long time and all that stuff, a lot of people, like, it's very common for people to have divorced parents and parents that are together. So whenever I was one of the few people that had their parents together, they're like, oh my gosh, they're so, like, you know, you're so lucky to have your parents together, like, you don't have any problems in the world, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I am grateful that they're both in my life, but they're also not perfect, so, you know, they're just people. So like, if I had problems, I was not allowed to express them because it's like, oh, well, you have both your parents, so you don't have nothing to say. And I'm like, who said that? Who said that? Not me. Like, okay. And it was just like a common thing of like, because I didn't face the stereotypical traumas that a lot of people face, I was not allowed to express any traumas that I faced, because it's not because if I didn't have any, I just couldn't say what they were because they weren't the same as someone else's, or they weren't as heavy as other people. So it was like, already because I had my own personal experience about being a black woman, because they weren't the same as another black woman, I wasn't allowed to like express it to them, because they're like, oh, well, I have it worse, so you can't. You don't even know what it's like to be me. And I'm like, you're right, I don't, but you also don't know what it's like to be me. But you ain't seen me say that, but go off, I guess. Whatever. Go ahead, gaslight me. Sure, I'll just take it. So I really felt like I was like, because I had a father in my life, I was already not black enough. Or I was already like not black, because it's like black people don't have their dads. Black people have dads that go to the store and don't come back. And I'm like, well, my dad, he went to get milk and he actually returned. So I'm sorry that he wants to be in my life. Like, that's not my fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. And it kind of feels like the more I look at life, it kind of feels like people want other people to have the same struggles as them. Not for the selfish reason, but also like, they kind of like, sometimes it feels like it's nice to have people that relate to you, but at the same time it's like they get jealous when you don't have the same deep pain as them, like, because a lot of people have traumas from not having both their parents in their lives, and when they see someone with both parents in their lives, they get envious and jealous. And I feel like growing up I experienced a lot of jealousy from people, because I wasn't a stereotype, and I got to like be a bit above like what black people usually experience, because like growing up, I grew up an only child, so like my parents had more money to like pay attention to me, and then when my brother came along, they still were able to pay attention to me and him, but it was like we were different standards of financial situations, and it's like they were able to make it work in their own way, but it was just like I was able to be able to have a little bit more money growing up, and we weren't rich. Let's make it very clear. All my life I was living the projects. Like, let's be for real. If I was that rich, we wouldn't be here. We would be in the house. So that was the one thing that we were still stereotype of. We lived in projects. That's the one stereotype that we stood the ground on. We was like, we gonna stay in the projects. Well, we didn't want to stay. We just ended up staying here. But that was the one stereotype that I fit into. But yeah, and then also growing up, because I was a very active person, I played a lot of sports, and I was just a very sporty gal. I was white because I played sports. Like, literally, because I played sports, and because I got good grades, and I got presents for getting good grades. Like, I got rewarded for my good deeds. I was white, or I was spoiled, and I'm like, whoa, okay, like, I guess. Like, basically, because I didn't live a rough life in the sense of, like, my parents were dirt poor, and I had to have 5 jobs. Well, my parents both had 5 jobs. We had to scrape every penny we owned to pay rent, but then we didn't have food for a month. Like, that's people's genuine struggles. I'm not making fun of people for having that, but because I didn't experience that, people look at me like, why aren't you suffering? Why aren't you being miserable? I'm like, because my parents didn't want me to. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, it's not my fault. Like, hey, don't blame me. So it was kind of weird. And also, just like, yeah, experiencing a lot of like jealousy from other people, because I was able to like live a life they didn't get to live, and they were kind of envious of that. And also because I had things like, I was able to like have more money, I was able to like take care of myself better, and people were like, black people don't do that. And I'm like, but they can. They just don't, because they didn't have the financial means to do so. But we could if we did have the opportunity to. Like, the whole concept of like, well, I can get into that in another episode. I was going to talk about like therapy, but we're not going to get into that, because I will say that for another time, another episode. Anyway, but yeah, so I kind of just felt like I was never able to really like be, like, I mean, I'm being myself, but when I'm being myself, I'm being called another ethnicity. And I'm like, last time I checked, I'm still black, but whatever. Go off, I guess. But yeah, so, that's cool. And I mean, when I was a baby, I was really, like, pale. I was a pale baby, and then I got some color, like, a little bit. And then, like, the color I am now. And then during the summer, I get a tan. Like, I get a tan. I go from light skin to brown, like, in a matter of days, depending on how long I'm outside. This is off topic. But anyway, so yeah, so that's how I felt like growing up. Like, I was like, I played a lot of sports. I did the karate, tap dance, step, hip hop, track, volleyball, basketball, flag football, not badminton officially, but a little bit badminton. But yeah, I played a lot of sports growing up, and because usually that's the thing that white people do, where they play a bunch of sports. So I was like, oh, you play a bunch of sports, so you're white, and because you get good grades, you're this and you're that. And I'm like, black people can be successful too. It's like, it's kind of like as if black people can do the same things white people do when they have the opportunity to do so. It's almost like as if we had the same balance in society, we could flourish. It's almost like as if, almost. Anyway, so now it's just about my childhood, basically like that stuff, and also just the way how I dressed. I knew that like I didn't dress like, something keeps popping in my room. I think it's from the heat. I don't know, but like sometimes I would dress a certain way, and they'd be like, "Oh, look at you being a little white girl," and I'm like, I guess, like I'm not offended by it, but it's just like. It's crazy how only white people can dress like this. Like, I'm pretty sure there's other black people that dress like this too, but now they can't dress like that because everyone's calling them white. And it's just like, why is it only a white person thing? Why can't it just be I'm dressed like a certain way, not like I'm just like a certain person? Like, it's weird. It's kind of weird. Like, I get it. It's foreign and it's more common for white people just like this because than black people. But it's like, I think the part of the reason why is because black people weren't allowed to dress like this because they get called either a white girl or they didn't have money to wear that type of stuff. So it was like, yeah, only white people dress like this because they were the only ones able to do so. Like, that wasn't our fault. But now that we have opportunity to, now when black people want to have the same aesthetic as often white people do, now all of a sudden we're being a whole different race instead of just being like liking the same aesthetic. Like, it's, you know. So that's also another thing that I'm just like, I'm always been like, okay. Then in college, I had some experiences where it was just like, growing up in high school, I had a lot of like, my school is predominantly black and Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, like black and Hispanic people, and then like a mixture of other ethnicities too, but mostly black and Hispanics. And basically, a lot of my close friends were Hispanic or Latina, or, and that's just who I ended up being friends with. It wasn't because I was like, oh, I'm not being friends with any black person. No, I didn't care about anyone's ethnicity when I became their friends. I did based on their personality. So, in college, I had like, my first semester, I had some black friends, and one day we were going out to, like, just hang out. We went to the mall, and we came back, and we was going to eat food at the dining hall. And we were at the dining hall, and often my freshman year of college, in my first semester, I remember, like, I would post a lot of, like, snap stories about, like, memories from, like, high school. But, like, oh, look at this memory, look at that memory. You know, I'm reminiscing on, like, you know, my friends and stuff, because, like, I'm away from them, and, like, I miss them or whatever. So I would post the stories occasionally, and my friend at the time, she, like, would see them. So then we're at the dining hall, and then it came along the topic of, like, I think high school or just, like, friends. And then I think she asked me, like, oh, like, did you have any black friends in high school? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then I was just like, I just don't have that many pictures of them, you know? And they said, oh, okay. Because I was like, I would see your post on Snap, but I wouldn't see any black people. And I was just like curious as to, like, you know, why, like, you don't have any black friends. And then I was just like, oh, and I think I brought it up, like, oh, I am, like, you know, part Hispanic, like, you know, like, I'm not fully black. I don't know why I brought it up into conversation. I'm guessing to be like, oh, well, like, I am, like, mixed, but, like, I don't know. So I brought it up in conversation, like, oh, like, I am also Puerto Rican, so, like, you know. Because I'm guessing she was kind of asking the question of, like, I wonder why you're not friends with your own people. And I kind of wanted to be like, oh, but, like, Puerto Ricans are also my people because I'm both. So then she was like, oh, that makes sense. And I was like, what do you mean that makes sense? Like, what are you talking about? And then she said, oh, yeah, because, you know, usually a lot of Spanish people, they only hang out with each other. And I was like, it's time to get it on. Like, I was like, okay, it's time to have an intellectual conversation, black woman by black woman, because this sounds like a little bit of ignorance, and we're not going to have ignorance around me. If there's going to be one thing I'm going to tell you is that you're ignorant with a love and caring heart and try to educate you, or just to, like, have a conversation to see why you have that opinion and see if I could just help you out a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, so we had a conversation about it, and it kind of went south because I kind of was going off for her in the dining hall, and I kind of felt bad because one of our friends, she was there, and she, like, left to go get food. And then she left to go get food, so I was just going off on her friend. And then the friend goes, oh, come sit back down, because the girl was behind me. She saw me still talking at her friend. And then, because basically, she said this statement, and then her friend did agree, but like she left to go get something, and she was behind me the rest of the time, because she didn't want to be part of this. And then her friend was like, oh, come sit down. And I was like, yeah, you come sit down, because you agree with her, and you didn't disagree, so I'm going to talk to both of you, because both of you have this ignorant statement, and I'm going to let you know that y'all in the wrong. So she sat back down, and I don't know if I was yelling, but we were in public and I didn't care. But I wasn't quiet. I was pretty vocal about what I felt. And then we ended the conversation with just us agreeing to disagree, because she was just like, I still feel the same way I feel, even after that conversation. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I was like, I can't change your opinion. That's just you want to be like that? That's on you. And it was, I don't remember in detail about how the conversation went. It was just like, you can tell that the statements that she was making were based off ignorance and not off of like, it like lacked knowledge of other people besides black people. But it also could have been her personal experience with Hispanic people, because I feel like maybe in her experience with her schools, she only saw like the Hispanics only talk to themselves, because some people do that where like they only speak to people that can also speak Spanish, because that's the people they feel more comfortable around. But it's like, for you to make statements that like that's how all of them are, I have a slight problem with that, because like, just because you have experience with some group of people doesn't mean that dictates how they all are. That's how black people got the stigmas sometimes. Like a white person has a bad experience with one black person and like they're all like that. No, babes, you just met a bad person, or you were the problem and you just don't want to admit it, because you could have been a Karen. You could have been the Karen. Anyway, but yeah, I just didn't like the fact that she was like basically generalizing a whole group of people. Because then I asked her, I was like, oh, did you become my friend because I'm black? And she was like, no. I'm like, okay, so if you would have found that I was Puerto Rican beforehand, would you have not been my friend anymore? No. I'm like, okay then. So like, I become friends with people based off their personality, not because of their ethnicity. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. Like, I don't, not like I don't see ethnicity, I don't see color. I see color, I know what you are, but it's just, I don't care. I don't care if you're white, if you're black, if you're Hispanic, if you're Puerto Rican, you're Dominican, if you're Indian, like, if you're Native American. I don't care, because your personality is what matters. And that's what my friends are. Like, I'm friends with all my friends because of their ethnicity. God, no, because of their personality. And she was just like, because I think also because she grew up with a lot of black people around her and she has a lot of black friends, so seeing another black person not have black friends was kind of weird to her, which I can understand. Like, looking back at that conversation, I can understand where she was coming from. But like, every time when I tell people about that conversation, everyone's like, why did she say that? I'm like, okay, I wasn't tripping. It wasn't just me tweaking out. She was really in the wrong. So anyway, yeah. And like towards the end of that semester, I did have a falling out with her, because I just saw her personality wasn't vibing with my personality. And something about that kind of ties in with the topic of being like not being black enough, because I kind of realized that like a few times whenever I would be friends with black people, like in high school and in college, I didn't get along with a lot of black people. And I was like, why am I not getting along with any of my people? Like, what's going on? Like, in elementary school and middle school, I got along with black people perfectly fine. Like, even the friends that I had from elementary school, I could still talk to them. We could hang out and kiki and have fun. And it's fine. Like, my friends from middle school, like, I recently went to a concert in August of last year with one of my friends from elementary school, and she's black, and we got along perfectly fine. But I'm like, then in high school and in college, all of a sudden, all the black people, we ain't meshing together. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, even I had a roommate sophomore year of college, and she was black, and we didn't become friends, which, I mean, it's fine, but it was just like, we didn't mesh. Like, in the beginning we did, but then we slowly started not meshing anymore. Or like, I don't know. It felt like she stopped talking to me at some point. I was just kind of, I was like, what happened? I thought we were kind of getting along, and then she kind of just like stopped talking to me and only talked to me when she wanted something. I don't know if I did something to offend her. I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened, but she just kind of stopped talking to me, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're not gonna be friends after this year. Kind of was a little bummed, because I was like, oh man, okay. And it's like, I try being friends with black people, but it kind of seems like they don't want to be my friend. And I'm like, am I the problem? Am I an issue? Like, why is no one want to be friends with me? Like, oh my gosh. And then I kind of had this experience also with my junior year of college, where my dorm, my side of the room, because like, there was like a girl's side and a guy's side. The girl's side was predominantly black women, and I was like, okay, cool, like, I'm seeing my people here, this is fun. But they were also, I think, all friends with each other, so it kind of felt like when they would see me with either my white friend or my half Asian friend, half white friend, or my Latina friend, every other ethnicity but black, and they're like, oh, she's one of those girls. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm literally just breathing and existing. And it kind of felt like no one wants to be my friend. And then I had some black people, I think it was just one girl, but I had a black girl make fun of my hair. this girl, this black woman made fun of my hair in its natural state. I'm gonna tell you the story. So here's a picture. During college, doing a black woman doing their hair, a black person in general, black women and men, black people doing their hair is a very vulnerable state. It's kind of like you're catching someone putting on a pad. I said that in the last recording. I'm saying it again. It's kind of like catching a girl. No, it's kind of like catching a girl putting on a pad. That's actually really disgusting. That's not a good image. I'm gonna change it up. It's kind of like witnessing a girl bleed through on their, like, having their first day and they bled through and you're like, girl, I think you got your period. You're kind of leaking a little bit. It's kind of like that. It's a very vulnerable state because your hair is in its raw, natural state. It's either out of the braids or it's like in its coily state. You didn't get to like flush out the curls yet. It's a very vulnerable state of mind and like visual appearance. So whenever I did my hair, the only people that saw me in that vulnerable state was my roommates, because if I had to do my hair, I made sure I had enough food in my fridge or enough food in my room, and I didn't drink a lot of liquids so that way I wouldn't have to go outside to the bathroom to use the bathroom. I'm not kidding. I made sure that I would have enough food to supply myself to be able to function and stay awake and not pass out while I'm doing my hair, because doing your hair, that's an arm workout, girl, let me tell you. But I made sure that I had enough food to like restore myself and replenish myself so that way I can be able to function while doing my hair, but also so that I wouldn't have to go outside so people would see my, like, if I had like half my twist in but the other half wasn't in, I would either hide it. I wouldn't go out to the bathroom. The bathroom could be down the hall. The bathroom could be like, my room's here, the bathroom could be here. I would not risk having someone see me in a vulnerable state. But one day I decided to just do that. I was like, you know what? I'm blow drying my hair. I think it was in the middle of blow drying my hair or something. But it was a natural frizzy state. I was like, you know what? I really had to pee. I'm gonna just go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, and my neighbor, one of them's black, in the room. My neighbor's door's open. I pass by the room as I'm going to the bathroom. Now, mind you, I had to manage to build the courage to even step outside the door while my hair was in this natural state, right? I'm like, I'm going to build this courage. I'm going to finally face my fear and just go. Don't care what people think. I'm going to just go, pee, come back. I'm going to be quick with it. Because like the bathroom, my room was here, and then the bathroom was like kind of like a little bit further down. So I had to pass by one or two, like two doors, and then the bathroom's right there. Like I was pretty close, but I still had to pass some people. So I was like, I'm going to just dash in there, dash in, dash out, come, and do the rest of my hair. So I go and do that, right? And then tell me why. I'm going to the bathroom. And then I hear some girl go, it looks like her hair got electrocuted. And they're kikiing with each other. Y'all, I've never felt so violent in my entire life. Oh. And then all three of them were laughing. And one of the girls' name was a black woman. And I was like, we supposed to be friends. We supposed to be with each other. And you the enemy. You the enemy. How? Why? Why are you my enemy? We're supposed to be allies. We're supposed to be allies. And you stabbed me in the back. You the one with the gun in the hand. I felt so betrayed. I was like, girl, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? What is so funny? Want me to take the hair out? Want me to take your hair out? Want me to pull that wig out? See how much hair you have or how much you don't have? Girl, come on. I'm like, I was just like, I'm just go to the bathroom and I'll pee and I'll go back in my room. And then I was just there like, this is exactly why I did not want to go outside in my natural state, because people make fun of you when your hair is in its natural state. And mind you, that is not the first time that's happened to me. The first time it happened to me was my freshman year of college, okay? Paint the picture. So I'm a freshman in college, you know, do my little thing. My hair's in a twist out, you know. I have my twist in, I did them out. My hair's in this little twist out style. I'm feeling cute, I'm feeling fresh. I go to the bathroom. Both times it happens when I'm going to the bathroom, right? So, again, it's my neighbors. This time, they're Hispanics. I'm like, okay. So, I go to the bathroom. My neighbor's door is open. And I pass by the bathroom. I'm going to the bathroom. And I hear, oh my gosh, it looks like she has snakes in her hair. That one hurt me. It did. When I was a freshman, I was hurt. That hit me in the chest. That hit me in the chest. I was so hurt by that comment. I was like, a tear. It didn't shed. But like, I could have if I wanted to. I was like, I went to the bathroom. I peed. I came back in my room. I closed my door. I told my roommate, I was like, Jess, did you hear what they just said to me? And I proceeded to tell her what they said. She was like, that is so messed up. Why would they say that? Like, that's so mean. Like, what's wrong with them? Yo, I wanted to cry. I was so hurt. I was like, that's so mean. Like, it's so mean. Like, my hair is in a twist out. This is one of the cultural things for black people to have their hair as. And you gonna say I have snakes in my hair? Snakes! Snakes! Like, oh my gosh. And then she was like, oh my gosh, people are so uncultured. People are so rude and disrespectful. And I'm like, girl, don't you know it? Don't I know it? Not saying that she knows it because she's uncultured, but like, because she was actually a very nice person. And she's like one of my best friends. Love her. She was actually one of the few people that was like she's half Korean, but basically she's not black. And she was very fascinated with my hair. Not in the creepy way of like, I want to pet you like a zoo animal. Let's be cautious. Let's be cautious. She wasn't like that. But she was very like fascinated about how like basically she saw how my hair was in its curly state and like when I would do my hair, and she would ask questions every now and then but like, oh, how do you do this, how do you do that? Then whenever I would straighten my hair, she's like, oh my gosh, your hair is so like long and luscious and like it's nice. Like she was basically admiring it in a respectful manner. And has she asked to touch my hair? Yes. Did I let her? Yes, because she was respectful about it. She wasn't like, can I touch your hair? You know what I mean? Or like, can I touch your hair? Can I pet you? She wasn't like that. She wasn't a creep. She was nice. She was respectful. And I was like, yeah, sure. Because there was times where I wanted to touch her hair to see how soft it was or how dry it was, because she would say how dry it was. I love not to color or anything. But yeah, but like, you know, it was respectful. And she was always like admiring my hair. And I was just like, it was nice to see someone that wasn't black be respectful and like admire in a non-creepy way. Because I've also had other people like make comments about my hair, not like disrespectful, but more like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Like the stereotypical, when I take my braids out, people thought I cut my hair. I had 2 white people. I had my hair in braids one day, and then a few days later, I took the braids out and had my hair in my natural state. And one of my coworkers and one of my TAs, they were like, oh my gosh, I love your haircut. And I was like, oh, girly. I have to educate you real quick. I'm like, I didn't cut my hair. I just took the braids out. And they were both like, sorry. I'm like, you wouldn't know. It's fine. Like, I wasn't offended. I just thought it was funny. I'm like, oh. Because that was also the first time someone said that, when they see my hair in braids and then seen it out. They're like, you got a haircut. I'm like, no. No, I didn't. I just took the hair out. I didn't get a haircut, though. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But yeah, it was just really funny. But again, they weren't rude about it. They were like very nice, and they were just like admiring my hair, which I have no problem with, because, you know, black people's hair is amazing and admirable. It's a workout, and sometimes it's crazy and ridiculous, but it's admirable. Like, who wouldn't love my hair, you know? So I was chill with it. But yeah, but then the 2 people that made fun of my hair when it was in its vulnerable state, I was like, you guys are supposed to be allies. Well, the Hispanic people, they weren't. Well, I don't know if they identify as black. I don't know what to do. I mean, they are, but I don't know what to do. But there's me. But then the black girl, I'm like, we're supposed to be allies. We're supposed to be with each other. And you the enemy. Rude. Anyway. But yeah. So it kind of made me feel like, I'm sorry, I'm like trying to like get the white stuff off my lips. It kind of made me feel like, I don't know. It just kind of, talking about Black History Month, I keep getting messages popping up on my phone. It just made me feel like and then also on top of that, because of my dating history, I've never like been in a relationship with a black guy, and people look at me like, side eye. I'm like, girl, shut. It's not by choice. Like, I just like some of y'all just ugly. That sounds mean, but like some of y'all just dusty. Like, that's the best way to put it. Like, the dating pool is small. Like, the dating pool for me is very small. And some of y'all, I can't, like, I want to look at y'all and I can't look at y'all. Y'all be attractive. Y'all be looking. But I'd be like, I have to look away. That's how I be. I'm gonna shut up. I'm not gonna say anything else. But, yeah. So I'm like, the pool for me is very small. And then all the people that I'm attracted to are either social media people that don't know I exist, or, yeah, that's it. Like, I'm just like, they don't know I exist, but one day we'll meet again. One day we'll meet, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, she's pretty. I want to be her friend. Oh no, actually, I want to date her. That's cool. But yeah, it's just, I just haven't found anyone interesting. And then they're like, oh my gosh, she doesn't like black people. I'm like, I do. I just haven't met anyone that actually wants to talk back. First of all, I don't really see black people on social media like that. And then when I do admire them. I think they're attractive. But then after that, it's kind of just like, that's it. Or it's like the people that actually want to that like me, they be the dusty ones. I'm like, why do I get attraction from the dusty ones? I'm offended. Am I ugly? Just say it. Like, oh. Anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of frustrating when I would because in high school and college, I basically all my friends, I have 4 core friends and not one of them are black. None of them are black. Well, one is Puerto Rican, so she is. But she is and she isn't. That was wrong. She is, but she's not African American. Well, you know what? Whatever. She's not. She is, but she isn't. I don't know. Whatever. I have 4 friends. That was wrong. I have more than 4 friends, but I have 4 really close, 2 best friends or 2 close friends. None of them are black in the sense of African American, Black History Month celebrating black. None of them are black. One's Puerto Rican, one's half Asian, half white, one's a mix of Latina and everything else, and one's Mexican, as you can see. And then on my other friends, I have friends from elementary school, middle school that are black, 2 or 3, and they're good people. I just don't talk to them as much because it was so long ago since we were friends. But we still keep in touch, and we'll if we want to hang out, we could. But I just the people I've been friends with recently were other ethnicities, and that's just because of who I was around. And for a lot of people that are usually around black people, when they see me, they're like, why don't you have any black friends? I'm like, because they're not around me. Or the people that whenever I did have a black friend, they were just annoying, and I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Why are you acting like this? Please, you're the reason why we have a stereotype. Please stop. Get it together, man. Come on. Anyway, but yeah. I don't really know what else to say. I'm trying to think about what I said in the other recording, but I think that was basically the bulk of it. Just not feeling black enough sometimes. It made me wonder, if I was the problem because I didn't have a black friend sometimes. And yeah, I'll meet black people. And I still have some black people that I'm cool with them, but we don't hang out like that to be friends. So I remember one time I was working at summer camp, and there was this black girl that we were co-workers. We got along great. She was fine. We had an age gap, but we got along great. And if we would have I think if we were close in age, we would have stayed we still follow each other on social media, but I feel if we were close in age, we would have been more friends instead of just associates, whatever. But I get along with black people. It's just that sometimes they're just the wrong personality, and it's just that's just how the cookie crumbles. But then people think it's because I don't like black people, and I'm if I didn't like black people, I would hate myself. And I used to hate myself, but not anymore. But also, I didn't hate myself because I was black. There was other reasons. So it wasn't because of my race. Now, when I was a little kid, I used to want to not be black, but wanted to be lighter. I wanted to be white skinned because I was so my Puerto Rican friends. I wanted to be their color. But I go over that, we're chill. I don't care about my skin tone. I'm light skinned, and then I get darker in the summer. There's one thing I did talk about mixed people. People that are mixed, they also get told they're not black enough, and they if they try to talk about their struggles as a black person, people that are darker than them will condemn them for even acknowledging their problems. And here's the thing, I'm gonna tread lightly with this topic because I know colorism is a thing. I know light skin privilege. I know it's a thing that exists. I'm very well aware of it because it stems from slavery. Because the light skinned people they were house slaves. They at least got to be in the house. The dark skinned people got to be outside picking the cotton. I understand. I know the history of black history. I know the history of slavery. Trust me, I know. We have more privilege because we're closer to white than dark skinned people are. The representation of dark skinned people in the media is not as much as people light skinned. They think they have a light skinned person that's mixed. That's good enough. I get it. I understand. I'm not trying to say that doesn't exist because it very much does exist, and it's a problem for a fact. My only issue is when people try to acknowledge that they have a problem that is to a lesser degree, they get gaslit to say that's not a problem, that's not an issue, you don't have any issues. I have problems because mine are more deep and dark, and yours are just patty cake. Yours are elementary school problems. I have freaking problems that will put me in a psych ward. And it's why are we competing about problems? We should be ones to help each other out, not beat each other down. And that also stems from slavery because, you know, slavery, they pinned the people against each other. It's black on black crime. It's for real. And it's kind of sad because it's like we're bashing each other down instead of building each other up. And that's how they win, by making us not like each other. And it's just like, if y'all would just stop bashing people for having less problems, because also, like, being the person where it's like you have it good compared to others. So when you have a problem, people are like, you don't have problems. It's like, okay, but like I do though. You just don't know about them because you don't give me a chance to speak about them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, comparing your traumas and your issues to other people is so toxic, it's ridiculous. Don't make me sorry. But it's just like, it's a constant comparison problem that, like, light-skinned people, they can't express any issues that they have because a person that's darker than them will be like, you don't have problems, shut up. And some people could be complaining about, like, mediocre things or, like, things that, like, they cause themselves. Now, that's something that I'm not going to get into that because that's something that's out of my control. But one thing I do notice is that, like, when people are mixed race, they get told that they're not black. And I'm going to give an example. It's controversial. Logic, the rapper. I'm going to say it. This man gets beaten up, like, on the internet about how he constantly talks about how he's black. And they're like, you're a white man. You're literally white. Now, here's the thing. He is black. That's the thing. Like, I listen to his music. I used to listen to his music, but not anymore because I just don't. But, like, he is black. His dad's black. His mom's white. He can't help the fact that he looks pale. Like, that he's white skinned. He can't help that. That's just genetics. There are a bunch of black people that are 100% black and are his skin tone too. Like, that's not his fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's this guy on TikTok that, like, I'm pretty sure he's half and half, like, half black, half white. And someone was like, it looks like you're white, but with black features. And he was like, it's almost like as if I'm mixed. Like, it's almost like as if that's exactly what I am. It's almost like as if I'm white, but I'm also black, and that's why I have black features. He's like, it's almost like as if. And it's like, dude, like, why are you trying to, like, have people that just because they're mixed, they're not black at all? Like, they're not white enough, so they can't be white because they have black features. But then because they're not 100% black, they're not black enough. So now they can't even have any identity. So now they're having a crisis of, like, who am I? So they have to just be like, I'm mixed. They can't say they're white and black. They have to just say they're mixed because neither ethnicities want to neither ethnicities want to identify them as their own. And it's kind of sad because it's like they can't even acknowledge any culture because both cultures don't want them. And it's just like, it's kind of sad. Like, that's a dilemma that mixed people experience. And I'm pretty sure that's with other, like, mixed races too. But, like, it happens a lot with black people, especially with black and white people. Like, if a person's black and white, dear Lord, they get so much ridicule just for that concept. And it's like, bruh. Like, I get it, you have problems too, but just because you have problems doesn't mean you have the right to project them on other people. Get a therapist, get a journal, get something else, a punching bag. Not a person. A person is not your punching bag. Get an actual one, get a bob or something. That bob that you box and beat up and kick, or a punching bag, or some gloves, go to a boxing class, get some therapy, write a journal. Do something else besides bashing on your own people. It's immature, and it's just sad. Get a life. Get some help. Seriously. Honestly. And again, I say this lightly because I understand that the people that are saying this, sometimes there's some light-skinned people that speak out of turn, out of character, and they're being very privileged. I do understand that. For those people, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people that just want to acknowledge their own problems and, like, their struggles with being mixed. And people saying, you don't even have, that's not even that bad, that's not even that big of a deal. You don't even have that much of a struggle. Because it's like you're basically telling them that their small problem is no problem. And that now when they have this issue, they can't even talk about it because people keep telling them that it doesn't exist. You can't solve a problem, you can't acknowledge that there is a problem. So then now they're just in this limbo phase of, like, what do I do? And it's just kind of like, it's just heartbreaking to see it happen. And it's just like, I wish we would just stop doing that. Like, it's kind of annoying having to deal with your own issues and then can't even acknowledge that there are issues or talk about other people because you're scared they're going to tell you that they don't exist. Or it's going to tell you, oh, well, I have bigger problems than you, so, like, what are you complaining about? Because it's like, okay, you want an award for the biggest struggles? Like, this is not a competition. Like, come on, what are you doing? So it's just kind of annoying. So it's like, people will bash him, like Logic, the rapper, about how, like, he keeps saying, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. And then, like, you're literally white though, like, get over it. But, like, he has to keep saying that he's black because people will keep telling him he's white. He has to keep acknowledging that he is another ethnicity, because if he doesn't continuously tell people that he has a black dad, people will think he is fully white. And he's like, I'm not though. I'm black and white. Why can't y'all let me acknowledge it? And I'm like, I'm kind of on his side because it's like, it's kind of crazy how like he's half and half and he can't even identify the other half of him. Because people are telling him who he is instead of him letting him being able to like learn his own culture. And it's like, I think he has a white wife. I don't know the ethnicity of his wife, but his baby is like pale skin too, and now his baby won't be able to be even identified as black even if he wanted to. And it's just like, it's kind of sad because like, just because they're mixed doesn't mean they're not that race anymore. Just because someone's half and half doesn't mean they're no longer black. Like, they're still black. They're still at 50%. It's like, if you're less than like, if you're 50% or less, you're not black. Like, you have to be like 75% or more. And I think that's ridiculous and stupid. We need to stop that. Like, for real. Pump the brakes on that, babes. Pump the brakes. We need to end that. End telling people that they're not black. Now, here's the thing. The only time when you could tell someone they're not black is if they're trying to be transracial. No, babes. Transracial is not a thing. I'm not saying transgender. I said transracial. Transracial is not a thing. You cannot be one ethnicity and then identify as another. That's not how it works. You can't just change from white to black. I was going to make a really insensitive joke. I'm not going to do it. You just can't do that. That's just called blackfacing, and that's wrong. It's kind of immoral. It's just kind of rude. It don't matter how much you feel like you're a black person, you have a black soul, whatever. It don't matter. Because at the end of the day, none of your ancestors are black. None. None. But also, there's people that look more white than black, i.e. like Logic, or other people that are similar to Logic where they look more white than black, and then they're like, oh, I'm black. And then people are like, you holding on to that 1%. Oh my gosh, that 1%, that 0.5%. And it's like, why? If someone is black and they actually have proof that they're black, why are you constantly telling them they're not black if they actually are? Like, just because they don't look black doesn't mean they're not black. You don't know how genetics work? You didn't pay attention in science class? Well, you should go back because clearly you don't know what genes do. Like, can we stop? Can we stop telling people what they are and they aren't when they have proof that they are black? Like, it's just kind of annoying. And it's like, no, like, I don't know. I just don't, like, I find that kind of annoying because it kind of seems like people are just constantly gaslighting each other about their problems and about who they are and they aren't. It's like, who are you to tell me what ethnicity I am? Like, it's kind of, no. So, yeah, I find that kind of annoying, and I wish we would just stop. And there's other things, well, it doesn't really pertain to the topic of being black enough, but that's just kind of like what it is, where it's like, because also other ethnicities do it too. Like, the amount of times I've heard people say, oh, if you don't speak Spanish, you're not a real Hispanic. Please, don't get me started. Because, like, first of all, a lot of parents, they'll have parents that are Spanish speaking. Their parents will not teach them Spanish. How do you expect that kid to learn Spanish? How? When you learned it from who? Your mom and your dad? Okay then. So, like, shut up. Like, really shut up. Also, in my case, the person that is Hispanic is hard of hearing. What Spanish was I going to learn? Like, let's be for real. What Spanish was I going to learn? The man doesn't even speak at all. Like, he literally signs American. He does ASL. What Spanish was my dad learning? What Spanish was I learning? What Spanish? Please enlighten me. None. So, like, shut up. Because you don't know why people don't speak Spanish. And if you're not going to teach them how to speak Spanish, don't be the person that's like, oh, well, you're not really Hispanic because you don't speak Spanish. Are you going to teach me? No? Shut up. Shut your mouth. Keep it closed. Because if you're not part of the problem, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. That applies with anything and everything, because it's crazy how people will acknowledge someone's flaw but then not help them solve it. If you're going to address a problem but not help me solve the problem, you are the problem. You are part of that problem now, because you know that I have this issue and you refuse to help me solve it, or you don't give me advice on how to solve it. You're part of that problem now, because how are you going to call me out on something but then not help me solve it? You're dumb, you're stupid, you're ignorant. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Mouth closed. I don't want to hear you speak no more. Unless it's to help me speak Spanish. Mouth closed. This is what you do. You're doing this, do this, and walk away. Stop talking. Because a lot of people also don't teach their kids Spanish because they want to make sure their kids have a lot of opportunities in America, because they know that people get the racist comment of, this is not, go back to your country to speak Spanish. Dude, we don't even have a native language. Shut up. You sound ignorant. You stupid. You are real stupid. And it's also mostly white people saying that. Or even other ethnicities too. It's like, dude, I'm pretty sure you need to go back to your country because last time I checked, yours was in Europe, not America. Shut up. Stop being ignorant. Stop being stupid. Stop it. Stop. Anyway, I'm done talking because I gotta go. It's 3:18. I gotta leave in like 12 minutes. I gotta bounce. But yeah, so that was basically my whole like topic about not being black enough, and like I'm not like I don't care about the ethnicities of my friends. It was just sometimes I'm just like it kind of sucks that like I couldn't be. I don't like I didn't recently become friends with other black people because it would be nice to have black friends, especially black women, you know, be able to talk about, you know, your hair and stuff like that. But like I have black friends, they're just not like people I talk to all the time. Like my close friends, none of them are black. Like none of them can understand my struggles or like my like the life of a black person when it comes to hair, culture, the society, all that stuff. Like no, I can't talk to people like that. Like they can't be like, yo, I understand you, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? We relate on other traumas because trauma bond, slay. But other than that, it's like culture stuff. Like I mean, also the same. It goes both ways. Like my Asian friend, when there was hate crimes going on with Asian people, I was there like, hey, are you okay? I'm here anyway. That you want support. When there was a lot of black hate crimes, the same was applied. We were talking about it, you know, because also this unfortunate how like there's a lot of people that like I said in my other recording, I'm gonna say in this one, in my personal biased opinion, I feel like black people are the most hated race in the world because every single ethnicity has a problem with us. Every single one. Not everybody, but every single race, every single ethnicity has a problem. There's certain ethnicities that won't let their kids date black people. It's crazy. It's real and it exists. And it's like, that's crazy. Just because I'm black, I literally can't date your child. Okay, go off, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of really sad. It's just sad to see that. And then, you know, we're hated everywhere. I mean, other ethnicities are too, but it's like, it's more common. But here's the thing. Black people sometimes are also the most racist people ever. Second to white people. It's sad. I'm like, yo, the reason why we were in slavery is because of this, and you're gonna turn around and do the same thing to other ethnicities? Girl, give me a break. Give me a break. Oy, oy, oy. It's just sad. But anyway, I'm gonna leave. Last thing I have to say, it has nothing to do with being black enough. It's Black History Month. Happy Black History Month to all my black melanin kings and queens. Salute. Be an ally to other black people, not a villain. Be an ally. Ally, ally, ally. Second, to all my non-black people, stop saying the N-word. Stop it. If you are not black, don't say it. And it doesn't matter if you're POC. Now I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you in the eye. It doesn't matter if you're POC. You could be Latina. You could be freaking any other race besides black. It does not matter if you're POC. If you are not black, you can't say the N-word. I mean, you can. It's just disrespectful. And that's why it's advised for you not to. It's just rude and disrespectful to people. Just stop saying it. It doesn't matter if you're saying the GA. Stop saying it. Don't say GA. Don't say anything. If you're speaking Spanish and you're saying the color black, fine. You get a pass because you're saying Negro. You're not saying the hard R or the GA. But just stop. You know how many times I've had, like, my friends say the N-word more than me? I'm like, last time I checked, if you had an ethnicity card I could pull up, you are not black. Why are you saying this word more than me? And I never said anything, not because I was scared, because I was just like so, you know, sometimes you're just baffled, you're too stunned to speak. That's what happened. I was like, I had a friend that would say the N-word like every 3 days, like 3 times a day it felt like. And I was like, do you want to be black? I'm like kind of confused. Like, girl. Anyway, yeah, I gotta go. It's 2:28. It's 2:22. I gotta go. Thank you guys for listening to my podcast. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching my YouTube channel, if you want to follow my YouTube channel, if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button if it's red and it turns gray when you subscribe. And if you watch this video and if you want to leave a comment down below, leave a nice comment. Whether if you're a black person and you want to talk about your experience as being a black person, if you relate to the topic of not being black enough and you want to talk about your own experience, leave it down in the comments down below. Or if you want to talk about have you witnessed people have this experience, if you have any hate towards black people, you are being blacked. I don't care what you say, you're being blacked. No hate. Any day of the month, any month of the year, but especially during our month. This is our time to shine. Close your mouth if you have some hate. Go write it in a journal. Go get some therapy. Go do something. Just get out of my face, please, respectfully. If you want to follow the podcast Instagram, it's just at randomchatswana. And you also want to follow my personal Instagram and my TikTok, it's just @AnnaTheCash. And if you're listening on Spotify, Anchor, or Apple Podcasts, please give this podcast a rating so the algorithm can show that people want to watch this or listen to this podcast, and then I can get more views and I can make money off this podcast, because I still make no money off this podcast, and I would love to have this as a source of income. Thanks. Thank you. Be an ally, not an enemy. If you want to really be an ally, support Black creators. Support us. You know? We don't get a lot of support. Support us. Help us. Help us grow. Help us be able to be in the industry more often. Thank you. Anyway. Yeah, that's it. I have nothing else to say. Next week, I'll be talking about things I'm tired of as a Black woman. And I'll make a list of them, because I have a lot to say about that. It's so fun and quirky and cute. But yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go. I'm stalling now. Alright. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.